Okay, I'll see what that, ooh. I just broke the palette. Hi guys, it's Ali. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have got a couple of things from the brand new Revolution X Tim Burton Corpse Bride collection. So if you want to see what I picked up as well as what I think, then go ahead and keep on watching. Before we get into the good stuff, make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss when I post new videos. If you do enjoy this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up before you go and drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think of the video, of the look, of everything. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the products that I picked up. So I did pick up only 2 things from this drop, and it's just because, to be honest with you, I don't feel like I needed a lot of the things that came out. A lot of the products that were released as part of this collection were eyeshadow palettes. I think there were 2 mini eyeshadow palettes and 2 of the bigger palettes. I went ahead and picked up one of the bigger palettes and a lipstick. So I'll just go ahead and show you guys which ones I picked up, but I will leave a link to everything in the description box down below if you want to check out the collection, because there's mirrors, brushes, makeup bags, all of that kind of stuff on there. But yeah, so I went ahead and picked up the Upstairs Downstairs palette. There was also a butterfly palette as well, but I feel like this color story appealed to me that much more. The butterfly palette does have very similar shades to this palette though. I don't feel like both are necessary unless, you know, it's for novelty and you just want to collect the collection. But yeah, I went ahead and picked up this palette just because, yeah, it looked nicer to me. And I also picked up one of the lipsticks. So there were 3 different ones, and I went ahead and picked up the shade Victoria, which is a red type shade, but we'll get into this and a swatch of this shade later on in the video. The first thing we're going to look at is of course the palette, which I have right here. So this palette was £20, and if you guys are familiar with the Beauty Bay Nikkie Tutorials palette, it does open in a very similar way to that palette. So there are kind of like 2 doors. I do wish there was a mirror in here. I feel like there was room for the mirror in the 2 doors, just like the Nikkie Tutorials palette. But instead we do have some quotes. In the top door here, it just says, "I spent so long in the darkness, I'd almost forgotten how beautiful the moonlight is." And then on the other side here, we've got another little quote. And it just says, "Why would you want to go up there when people are dying to get down here?" So that's what we've got. And then of course we've got the palette on the inside. And just gonna remove the little sheet, and it has got some valves on there, and this is the color story, you guys. It's been a bit of a long time since I've seen Corpse Bride, but from what I remember, I do feel like the color story is very on theme. I don't remember what the significance of the butterflies is. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I do, because it's been that long since I've seen this film. But if someone wants to drop a comment in the comment section and explain it to me, then, you know, I would be grateful, because I don't know, I don't remember a lot about the film. I really don't. But we're here now, and I do love Tim Burton. Last year, Revolution did The Nightmare Before Christmas. I did film a video on that one that I will leave linked in the description box down below. But the palettes do look different. That is one thing that I will say. The Nightmare Before Christmas was very much like the Disney Princess Collection palettes, and this one is a little different. I feel like the shimmers in here look a lot more promising to me. Like this shade at the bottom here, Poison, looks absolutely stunning. And just all together, the shades look really, really nice. But we are, of course, going to do some swatches. I'm not sure if I've said already, but the palette retails for £20. Okay. So this is the first shade we've got, and this is Scraps. But I'm going to swatch the entire palette on my arm, and then I'll show you guys how everything's swatched. So bear with me. So this is the entire palette swatched. And I actually really like the majority of these shades. There are a couple of shades that I'm not 100% sure about, but if you guys look on the bottom row closest to where my sleeve is, that blue that I told you guys about in the beginning, Poison, I'm in love, love, love with that shade. But yeah, the formula, it feels really nice for a Revolution palette, and the shimmers, there's a little bit of inconsistency in there, but just looking at them in the pan, you can just tell that some of them are going to have a different texture to the others. Like this first shade right here that I showed you guys, Scraps, feels completely different to a lot of the other shades on here. It felt more like the powdered highlighters that Revolution do, or the I Heart Revolution powder highlighters as well. That powdery, flowery type texture. That's what that one's giving. But then if you go all the way back down here towards that Poison shade and the purple one next to it, which is True Love, that's a different texture. And it's a good thing that they've got different tones in here, because Revolution do have a tendency of repeating shades that are very, very similar. But if you guys can see here, all the blues look different to each other, all the purples look different, and yeah, so far so good. This is why I resent this palette for not having a mirror in it, because I, for some reason, cannot seem to find one right now. I kind of just wish I had a big mirror, or a mirror in the palette, because now I have to interchange between the two, but it is what it is. So I'm going in with a P. Louise base, and I think this is the shade Rumor 2.5. My initial plan was going to be to do a different look on both eyes, but since time doesn't allow for me to do that, I'm kind of just going to blend everything that I was going to do into one and see what happens, because I haven't actually done this in a very long time. So I am going to start with my first shade, which is this shade right here, Moonlight. So what I'm going to do with this shade is I'm going to start, but I'm only going to put this shade on half of the lid. I'm going to try and leave the center parts as blank as possible, because I'm going to put a concealer over there anyway. So I'm going to do like a cut crease type of look. Just a little different to what I usually do. Oh, that is a very, very nice shade. I do really like the pigment that we're getting so far. And there wasn't a lot of fallout either. There's nothing on here, which would have been a shame, because as you guys can see, yet again, I've done my makeup before doing my eyes, but I really like the look of that. Okay, so we're going to leave that there and go on to the next shade, which is going to be this purple shade right here called Downstairs. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to join it to that first Moonlight shade and just draw out the shape that I want. I'm hoping this look is going to do what I want it to do. If not, then look, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lighter purple shade here called The Rings, and I'm going to blend this one into the Downstairs shade and upwards towards the brow bone. This is like, it's coming off as a lilac on my brush, and it's not showing up as well as I would have wanted, but I'll just keep packing it on until I'm happy with it. So this is one of the more impressive Revolution palettes for me. I'm actually really enjoying working with these, because it's not taking a lot out of me to use this palette. Like even this shade, The Rings, that, you know, it wasn't looking promising from the beginning, it has just blended into that so beautifully. And I love that. To blend out the Moonlight shade, I'm going to use this shade right here called Everglow. It looks a little bit like a deep periwinkle in the pan, so I'm hoping that's going to come off more blue than purple. It does look like a blue on the brush, so I'm hoping that it does what I want it to do. So this one is blending into the Moonlight shade, but also into The Rings. if it's going to cooperate with me. So yeah, on first instances the shade doesn't show up as much, but if it's anything like that, the rings shade, it just takes a little bit of patience. I'm fairly happy with that blend. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go back in with that Rumor 2.5 shade, and I'm going to do a little cut crease, and I will just fast forward past this part because it takes me a little while. So I've done whatever I call a cut crease, that's just what it's gonna have to be, and I am gonna go in with that shade that I've been talking about since the very beginning, Poison, and I'm gonna put this one starting on the inner corner, basically all over, but I'm gonna leave a little gap at the end because I need to blend that purple in with a different shade. Look how pretty this shade is. That is breathtaking. I love that. I love that. I'm going to finish it up in a second, but I'm just going to show you what I meant when I said I'm going to add a shade over here. So I'm taking this purple shimmer True Love. I'm going to blend this shade into that Poison shade, but it's also going to blend into the Downstairs and the rings that we had going sort of out the way. And this is just a shimmery purple. It's not as pigmented as the Poison shade though, so I might... Yeah, no, that's not giving anything. Wow, you guys, this purple shade just isn't giving anything at all. Okay, so I've had to switch and go in with a different purple. And this is the shade Van Dort. Which looks a bit more fuchsia in the palette itself, but it looks okay. I am a little disappointed in the purple shimmer shade. I'm still trying to put some of that on, but it is just falling straight onto my face. But I have managed to get a little bit of it on there to do what I'd initially planned. And I must say that I do really like that. I'm going to use Bouquet for the low lash line, just because I am bearing in mind that I am going to use that Victoria lipstick, which is a deep red kind of colour. I do want it all to tie together in some shape or form, so we're going to see what this looks like on the lower lash. I'm sticking with it. I could have easily done a blue or like a midnight purple type shade, but why not go all out? I feel like a gold inner corner would be a little bit misplaced here, so I think I'm going to use this shade with this hand for the inner corner today. No, I'm not going to use that shade. I'm going to use Lord Barkis, which is this shade here. Yeah, this was the right choice for that. I feel like I look like an intergalactic babe and I'm so here for it. I'm gonna hop off camera, finish the other eye, add some black eyeliner and mascara and some lashes, and then I will come back with my final thoughts. So this is the completed eye look, but I do have one more thing to do before we go ahead and wrap up this video, and that is to put on the lipstick that I bought. So I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but there were 3 different shades to choose from. There was Victor, Victoria and Emily, and I went ahead and picked up the Victoria shade, which is like a red. So this is just a box that it comes in, and these retail for £5 each. And this is the packaging for the lipstick. And then when you twist it, it just has a little skull imprinted onto the lipstick there. This is what the shade looks like. It's like a deep red, and I'm hoping it's going to look okay. From the swatch, it does look like it's going to be an alright shade. It's not too bright and it's also not too dull of a shade. I'm just not sure with all the blue and the purple that I've got going on if it's going to look alright with the eye look. I actually like that. I think in a very I actually really like the shade of this lipstick. I feel like it is a shade that I would actually wear outside of, you know, reviewing it for this video. This is a very flattering color, and it's not too intense, but it's got enough intensity that you can wear it during the day and you can also wear it in the evening. And I just think it makes my lips look nice. I really like that. So that pretty much concludes this video. I can't say whether or not the entire collection is a hit, just because I've only sampled 2 of about 8 different products that were launched as part of this collection. But the 2 that I have, I actually am very impressed with them. I don't usually get impressed by Revolution palettes because they're not usually up to scratch for me, but this one right here, I do really like it. So outside of the theme and, you know, the whole corpse bride thing, if you're someone who's into your blues and your purples and pinks, then I think this is a very good palette for that, because the formula delivers and the blendability, everything like that, it's amazing. It is £20, but considering that Revolution have charged a similar price for palettes that just weren't good, I'm just gonna say it, they were not good palettes, I can forgive the fact that this is £20. Could it have been 15? Absolutely. Could it have even been 12? 100%. But I like it, you guys. I do. I really like this palette. And it just feels weird that I have not a lot of negatives to say about this, aside from maybe adding some mirrors, because the back and forth for me, it was doing too much. You know, we've seen teeny tiny palettes like this that have mirrors in them, so it honestly wouldn't have killed them to put mirrors in this palette. Like, if anything, they could have put mirrors and then the little quotes in small writing underneath if they wanted to have, you know, yeah. More could have been done just for user-friendly ability-ness, but I like it. And the lipstick, I mean, there's not too much to say about a lipstick. It is a creamy formula. It went on super easy, and the pigment is there, and it's a £5 lipstick. You literally cannot go wrong. As always, if there's anything that I've missed out, any details, any questions that you have, go ahead and pop them in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, then go ahead and hit the bell notification button so you guys don't miss when I post. I am probably gonna go and scare everyone in my house right now because it's a very intense look. Let's be real, it's intense. But I will see you guys in my next video.